All right, peace, fam. I hope y'all in tune for a long video because we're gonna talk about this AI Timbo Suno shit that's going on. All right. Um, I was watching his stream last night with Guru and Ray, Rocky, and there was a couple more people that came in like YK, and they made some good points. We just gonna break this down because we're cheapening ourselves once again when it comes to creativity, art, and music. So let's jump into it. Let's do some breakdown. Let's analyze the stream from last night and listen to some things that they had to say, whether you agree with it or not. Uh, but let's get into it, man.
Some people don't like Suno and some people do. I use Suno for a tool. So as I was with them building on this tool, there are a lot of, as you build, I uploaded all my beats. How I use it as a producer tool, like a sampler, right? So it gives you personas. And what I did, I started learning more and more how to become a prompt operator.
All right, that's number one. Hey, you already done gave it the sauce, man. I got some notes here too, but I'm gonna go back and forth. You already gave it the sauce. You uploaded your beats into Suno. Now Suno learned how you made your beats, and all it's gonna do is duplicate it. It's kind of no different than us learning. Like Timbo was the first person I learned how to make beats. Like I would watch his videos or or listen to his music videos and learn how to copy his drum patterns, how he get his swing and his bounce. But it's still stuff that I can't personally do. Um, with Timbo type style or type beats. But what you essentially did was gave it your music DNA. You gave Suno your musical DNA, and now it's gonna build off of what you already showed it. When you said in one part of your stream, I don't know if I get to it here because it's a 4 hour stream. I probably was in like in the second hour when I started watching it. But by you giving it your musical DNA, bro, you're helping the AI out. You're cheapening your creativity by teaching something that'll never give back to any other community. And that's the thing about this that I truly like. That's the thing about this that I truly like need people to understand and understand the perception of. If Timbo was to bring me under his wings and teach me, I can then go grab somebody and teach them what Timbo taught me, etc., etc. And that's how music has grown and went along. But by us uploading our DNA information into Suno or uploading any type of musical data into any AI thing, the AI learns what it does and it just keeps duplicating it. So that means the next, let's just say the next wannabe producer becomes this prompt guy, doesn't have to go through, or prompt girl doesn't have to go through uh the the learning curves and woes to understand how to do this. They can just type that shit into a prompt and they no longer need a Timbaland. They no longer need a Chris Brown. They no longer need a Brian Michael Cox, right? They can just get AI to do it and sing it. And we got to stop cheapening our creativity. Jane said that, and I wrote that down. Jane said that, industry baby mama, she says it later on in the stream. By doing stuff like this, we keep cheapening our creativity. Why are we cheapening our creativity? Our creativity, uh, our creativity is our gold mine. We're the only industry where our DNA, our creative thoughts are very cheapened. It cheapened through streams. It cheapened through the type beat era. That's still going on now, right? We we keep finding different ways to cheapen our music, and we're not standing on anything, man. We're selling our creativity for pennies, literally. Spotify.
So I never trained off of, you can't train it. It has to learn you. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to prompt to get.
But you did train it. Stop saying you can't train it when you did train it. By uploading your art into that system, you trained it to do what Timbo does. You trained it, bro. And I think that's one point that Timbaland was kind of missing when Guru was explaining it to him. It's like, yes, you are training it. You are teaching it what to do. So you're training it. You're actually letting Suno be your mentee.
The best product out of this tool. So
Right.
it's not about training it. It's about you learning how to work with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Learning code, learning like, okay, if I say, yo, I call it Baby Timbo. So if I say Baby Timbo, I need my 808 to hit a little harder. I ain't make it hit harder. The one that, like, now remind you, I'm giving it original Timbo beats. So it's not like I'm using it to generate how, I call that the karaoke side, right? I call that like, you know, mom and whatever. But I give it all my, cause you know, Guru, I got drives and drives of music. That's number one. So I give it my beats that's like, oh, I can reimagine my beats. But in order to reimagine, you have to learn how to prompt. And I'm like, yo, this text to music is gonna be a new wave. But it was aggravating to me because I said, yo, this ain't music, this ain't blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, yo, this is a way to get inspired and never be blocked.
And let's.
I'm gonna stop it right there, man. I think blockage is needed sometimes, right? And inspiration comes from being around other people, not sitting at a computer. Inspiration comes from being in the world, right? And I got to be better at that. So I'm not just projecting, right? I know I got to do better at that. But when we listen to a lot of the songs that have been created through the timeless songs, it came from being in the world. It came from being around other people. It came from being like hearing other stories about people and somebody's able to write it. We don't get confessions if Jermaine Dupri never experienced his breakup, right? Like that's where the inspiration came from. Usher delivered the song, but Jermaine Dupri wrote it. Brian Michael Cox and Jermaine Dupri made the production on it, if I'm not mistaken, right? We don't get those Thriller albums if Quincy Jones is not in the room with an orchestra, bouncing ideas, and you know what I'm saying, arranging music. Like you getting rid of community. Like we already kind of became this generation of producers. I'm probably part of that generation as well. Have became these bedroom producers that we don't really have other things to get out and interact with. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have post-COVID. We don't have rooms to get in and showcase our talents, or you know, we have to discover other talents and bring those talents on. And I'm gonna get into that in just a second. But those talents is what we need for inspiration. We need those other talents. We need those other people. We need those people that are hitting these open mics. We need those people that are pushing and striving for. That's where your inspiration comes from. The inspiration shouldn't come from a computer. I wouldn't think. You know what I'm saying? Like, inspiration comes from the people. We inspire. That's what we do. Whether it's good or bad, we inspire things. You know what I'm saying? Being around a person inspires another person to become better, become greater. People hanging around Timbaland, they were inspired to become greater producers. People hanging around Missy Elliott and Guru and people like that, they seen those people and got inspired from there. We're gonna lose the human side of it if we keep allowing AI or things like that to replace us as creatives, man. And that goes for any type of art, music, paintings, whatever.
Pause there, Tim. Like, so one of the things that I wanted to explain to people, right? Like, we wanted to make sure, this is me as a professor, as a teacher, you know, I'm
Sure.
over there. Jay gave me the green light, and we over there with LIU, with the university, right? So it's us teaching musicians, not only just regular music or how to play, but the business and all of it.
One person, my boy Barry, he's really my cousin, Barry Hefner, he hit me, he was like, the only problem that I have, Ray, is that these are tech nerds who don't have good intent for creators, right? This is what he thinks it is, right? And he's like, when they get one of us, then it makes it like, well, everybody can come, and they usually don't have good intent. But I'm like, we still don't know that for sure. And I was like, Timbaland is a part of Suno. So at this moment, I just got to trust my brother and be like, he know what he's doing.
Well, you know what?
But like,
I would say this: your man is right. That was one of the
and I
things.
get, and I said that to him. Tim, I said, you're right.
So, um, and that's one thing they did. I think they did good when they talked about this section of it was the tech nerds don't care. They're they don't care about the liveliness of the music, so to speak, right? They don't care about the human side of it. Tech is in some aspects, especially with AI, is designed how to cut other things out to make it more efficient, more faster, more cheaper. Um, and so I love tech. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt I deal in crypto as well. Like I understand tech. I fairly understand tech. I feel like I'm nerdy in that way. But when you got this machine that is taking one of the most essential art forms and just replicating it, right? Like reproducing it without any energy or emotion, then yeah, you're taking the soul away. You know what I'm saying? You're really taking the soul away. And for those people sitting at the top, those top 1%ers or the top 1% of the 1%, right? You they don't care about how things became. They just want it done so they can make the money, right? And we've seen that. And don't say all companies don't do it, because if we go back and we look at the products that we buy and the things that we buy, is actually very harmful for us in a lot of ways, right? So when you put knowledge of Timbo's 30,000 hours in this machine and it replicated, then you put 30,000 hours of Missy Elliott in there, and you put 30,000 hours of Busta Rhymes in there, and you put all their information in this machine, then it becomes to the point where it will fall into the wrong hands. It will get to the point to where they don't need us, right? But this is the most purest form of creativity at its highest level, being fed into a machine so it can be replicated. We can't do that. We have to take control of that, and we're losing control by giving it to a machine.
And that's one of the things I had, like I was always
Right,
one,
right, right, right. In what sense, Tim? Explain that. Right, in what sense?
meaning that he's saying like tech people and nerds, like the way they mentality could think is like basically in so many ways could be culture vulture, right?
Yes.
And basically, you know what I'm saying? So, but
And also, we not knocking people, but we have to start understanding the mentality. Like, once you get to a certain level of intelligence, a lot of people tend to cut themselves off from the world, so to speak, right? And so when you start dealing with certain intellects and certain intelligence, we start losing certain things sometimes, right? We just start doing things, and I think that's what they're speaking on. To me, that's what they're speaking on. It's my opinion, you know what I'm saying, like whatever. But with again, you got these tech people, you got these the common analogy or sense of, we have these tech people that sit in this room, they don't interact, they don't go to parties, they don't hang out, they don't have a social circle. I think that's what we think about, you know what I'm saying? And it's stereotypical, that but that's what we think about when we think about uh tech guys. Think about people sitting in a room studying a bunch of shit all day, and then they figure it out and they just keep going for it. That's kind of essentially what they're saying. And so now they're able to replicate the culture without being within the culture. So now you taking essence out of something that needs it. Like we don't get Planet Rock, we don't get the African Bambadas, we don't get the fucking DJ Cool Hercs if they're not within the culture to create this. Right? That's the essential. That's the founding fathers. You know what I'm saying? We don't get those people without being in the culture. And what they're saying is culture vulture, meaning I don't have to be in the culture. I can observe from the outside. I can type in a prompt, make a Moray type track, and put Kanye West voice in it singing, and boom, it's an instant classic or instant hit. Like that's what we're talking about culture vulture. You're not a part of it. So why should you have access to it? If you're not a part of it, you shouldn't have access to it, period. And I think AI would give people access to certain things that they would never in a million years. You'll never step inside of the inner city to experience Yo Gotti's hip hop, right? You'll never go to Ridgecrest Apartments in Memphis to understand where Yo Gotti came from. You'll look at it from a TV screen, but you shouldn't have Yo Gotti's um musical DNA in a computer that you could type up and make something happen. That shouldn't happen. Shouldn't be replicated at all.
On steroids, right? The problem is it creates music. Now that's the only problem. Like there's a problem where, you know, about how it's been trained and stuff like that and whatever.
Mhm.
But that's like, that's a little like I don't know, because it feels like, I don't know if it's trained off of people music. I think it's trained off of theory.
No, it's trained off of people music.
How you gonna say that you don't know if it's trained off people's music or not when you specifically said at the beginning of the stream that you uploaded your music to it so to have a reference point? It's trained off the people. It doesn't learn by itself. Information has to be put in a computer for it to learn. And unfortunately or fortunately going forward, you've already trained the AI how to be Timbaland.
So
Well, tell me that. So how can you, how do you see that? Like how do you?
So here's what it is, right?
Hold on, let me go to the
Initially,
bathroom.
When you come in with AI,
Hold that
and
thought.
you're
Hold that thought. Let me go to
training
the bathroom. Hold up.
I'm gonna keep it there.
Nah, go ahead, go Guru, because I ain't gonna. I love hearing you talk about it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
keep talking about it. I want to hear.
It's trained off of people music, and so let's go through the whole thing. And I told Tim I was going to go deep on this, and later when we get off of music, and that's when I was saying it's bigger than music, right? For me.
Hey, and for those people that don't know who Guru is, Guru came up with Jay-Z as an engineer, as a producer, and very intellectual. He has a class, if I'm not mistaken, on Harvard or some college campus, that he teaches music creativity, I guess. I don't know what the course is, but he's a professor at a college. A very knowledgeable guy. A lot of the stuff I learned from engineering comes from Guru.
Because I'm a nerd and I'm a tech dude, and I understand this whole thing. So when you say it's trained off of people music, meaning that what we do is that we take the history of music and we put this and analyze everything. We see when it's going from a G to a F to a whatever, to like, we see all of that. We see how fast it goes. We see how many times it goes. And what you'll do is eventually you're going to be able to type in and say, yo, give me a Timbo type beat at 98
You can't do that.
BPMs.
You can't do that.
No, but I'm telling you that you can. Because what it does is it's going to analyze your whole catalog in a day.
See, I've been breaking down the machine. It hasn't done that.
See, and this is where the tech savvy, the nerdy come in at, right? You're not supposed to be able to do that, but you can bypass it. Just like you can bypass it, and it'll teach you how to do illegal things as well. So, if it's the one rule I would say is if it's man-made, it's a loophole in it. Point blank, period. Whether it's the banking system, whether it's anything to do with computers or whatever, if it is man-made, it has a loophole in it. And yes, you can do that. Jane comes in a little bit later and explains that she's done it with a Chris Brown song. Like, it's certain things that you're not supposed to be able to do, but there's always back doors to it. And if it's not supposed to do that, why does it need your beats to learn off of? This is why certain people shouldn't be the first ones to that information, but they go get the ones that don't know as much and push it on them and be like, oh look, well he accepted it, he got this big name, and I think that's what they're doing to Timbo. Yeah, y'all, they seen Timbo, they seen how he liked doing certain things, they seen how creative he was. It's like, well, bet if we get Timbo on board, we're gonna get the whole community on board. Not understanding that the whole community is up in awe about this shit, and we not going for it, man. Like, stop cheapening what we do as a people, period. They can't do the thing that we can do. You know what I'm saying? They can't do what we can do. So they try to find a way to duplicate it and mimic it and take the soul out of it. You can't do that. But it also goes to, like, please educate yourself before you go into any room as best possible. Not just listen to what people tell you. Because they can always tell you some BS. And they're gonna always give you the sales pitch, and the sales pitch always sounds sweet until you read the fine print in the contract.
I'm not gonna say.
No.
Are you saying it will go there?
No, Tim. You gotta understand that we at the beginning of this. We at the beginning. So imagine back in the day that we sent people to the moon with a computer that is not as powerful as your iPhone. And that's why I said, if you want me to get deep, I'm gonna get deep. But
I want to hear your thought. I want to hear your thought on it. Yeah.
And so to go further in what Guru talking about, it was like the technology that we sent people to the moon, with, right, doesn't compare to the technology in our phones today, right? So if we was able to send people to the moon with the first computers, and now we got phones that do twice as much as those first computers, what he's talking about is not only the computing power, but the power and the ability to do 3 to 4 times as much with less problem. And one of the big problems that I have with the AI thing too is how much energy it takes to make these AI things work. Can we make it work on a smaller energy source, or are we stripping the planet more for something that's gonna ultimately destroy us and send us back in time to where we going back to growing our own crops, like we ain't got no technology, no phones, no cameras, So yeah, or are we headed in that direction? So let's get back to it.
And then us as engineers understand Moore's law. Moore's law says that the computing power is going to double.
You mean quantum? Double. Yeah, I know.
No, not quantum. It's just the computing power is just going to double every 6 months. It's going to get faster and faster and better and better. Now, when we get into AI,
so boom, what he talking about is, we knew when we started making beats on computers, we had to build our own computers, right? So we was able to make beats back in the day with like 4 or 5 gigs of RAM, right? Then all of a sudden, what we understood when they started understanding how to make better programs, how to make better VST plugins, et cetera. Oh, now we need a little bit more RAM. We need a little bit more processing power. So we go from 1 processor to 2 processors, from 2 processors to 4. And that's what he's talking about. We're doubling. So now we got like 10, 11, 12 processors in this day and time on one motherboard, right? We got 100, 200 gigs of RAM, and the processing speed is that much more faster. So we looking at the capabilities of, from when we first start making beats. Let's say if you started on FL Studio at Dagum 3 versus FL Studio 25, the computing power for that, the learning curve is exponential. But now we got a computer that has a serious learning curve in it, right? That can do it on its own. It don't need our input, so to speak. And they'll talk about getting into that point too later on. But just understand, like, the computing power that a computer once had is 5 to 10 times faster. If you go get somebody from the 70s and say, hey, do you know we can do this with our phones now? Like, man, it took us 2 hours, 3 hours to do that on an old computer back in the 90s or whatever. Like, you feel me? That's where that comes in it.
We understand a situation where we're analyzing what we do. So I can sit there and analyze everything about a Timbaland beat.
Yo, Timbo be looking at everything.
Yeah.
I'm saying you.
I'm sorry, Guru. I'm about to interview Moray. I'm about to get off, but he like, you got Timbaland? I'm like, you want to say what's up?
What's up, OG?
What's up, Poppy? What's poppin', brother? What you up to?
That dude right there, that's Young Guru. That is
good
that is the
bro.
legendary.
Nah, listen, Timbaland is a legendary, bro. What Timbo really put me on, bro. This was the first call I got when Quicksand came out.
See Timbaland, see my Guru, and they be saying like Timbaland is doing.
I'm telling you, before anybody called me, Timbaland said, "Let me tap you in." I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I appreciate you, brother. No bullshit.
Are you not entertained?
Timbo, I love you, bro. I gotta finish getting back to work, man. All right, Guru. Thank you, man. I love you.
Is that we are in a situation where AI is looking at exactly. I could scan your whole catalog in a day, and I could sit there and say, what are the traits of a Timbaland beat? That's my point of my retort to what I was saying, is that I should never be able to classify you by what an algorithm is saying, because I don't know what Tim decided to do on a Saturday. You see what I'm saying? And the change.
I want to speak to this too. Like another side of this is, if, let's just say AI gets hold of Spotify's database. Let's say it gets hold of Tidal's database and all the streaming services database, Apple Music, right? And it trains its, I guess, ears, like it trains itself to the top 25 hits of the last 40 years, right? Then it's able to reproduce not only those hits, but similar sounding hits, and then hits the charts. That's the thing that's dangerous. What are we allowing AI to do? If we can feed music into a computer and it generates something back to us, right? Well, this is what it should sound like. Is it cool that we can do that? Heck yeah, but where's the creativity in it? Where's the soul? Where's the inspiration? There's no inspiration. It's just trained on, okay, the top the top the top 5 songs on Billboard for the last 20 years are written in A minor. And they're happy lyrics on a sad beat, and it just reproduces it. Where's the sadness coming from? Where's the happiness coming from? Where's the emotional side of that? And if we let AI get a hold of these databases and start being able to replicate hit songs, now we trending down a dangerous slope where we're not even falling in love with the process of it. We're not falling in love with the emotional side of what made that person write that song. Like, what made me write the song Slide? Shameless plug. Go stream my new song Slide, right? If I didn't go through those breakups, if I didn't go through those multiple heartaches, could I write Slide? No, I can't do it. AI is going to be able to analyze that and write a similar story? Nah, bro. Like, we're going to have to keep AI out of certain spaces, period, and allow it to be limited to a tool and not a complete thing. It shouldn't be able to create a song from start to finish, right? It's just say, you should be able to use AI as a tool in a manner of, hey, I'm writing this chord progression. What chord comes next, or what chord should basically come next, like a piano teacher, and it'll be able to put out, well, these chords will most likely sound good based on music theory, right? And then you choose the chord that you want, almost like Scalar does, right? Scalar lays out the chords for you. You're able to pick them and rearrange them, right? That's what that should be doing. It shouldn't be 100% creating a song from start to finish. And yeah, you probably got to input lyrics and all that other stuff too. But nah, I think we giving it too much information. We teaching it how to beat us. And if we're at war, why are we teaching a machine how to beat us?
Scanning and analyzing the history of music and saying, okay, I'm going to take that. And when somebody types in, and when you're prompting, all you're doing is talking to AI. And let's be specific. AI is not really intelligence. It's really only taking what we do and making it extremely faster. So I can analyze all of it. It's the same.
Right. So what he's saying is, whatever we input is what AI gonna kick back to us, right? So if I can't input a good song, and I think they talked about this later on too, I'm just not figuring out. I was in the beginning of the stream, so I might have watched an hour and a half, 2 hours of it. It's 5 hours long, or 4.5 hours long. Not finna go through this whole thing. I just want to pick out certain parts and then put my 2 cents in at the end. So what? Like, again, why are we taking the humanness out of it? Why are we training it to do something? Right? Let's train it to do something good to help us out in a way. But if we can't train it, if we're training it to replace us, Guru said it too. It's what happened to the motor industry in Detroit. All those people lost those jobs, et cetera, et cetera. That's what it came down to. As, like, if we were able to teach AI how to make the beat, how to write the song, how to mix the song, how to master the song, you just knocked out 4 essential jobs right there. And just think about every artist that got put on, changed the life of maybe 20 to 30 people in a matter of months and days. So if one artist is a job house for 30 people and we train AI to do 4 different jobs, 4 main jobs in music, how many people are we essentially knocking out of a job or a career?
Way you'll look at these kids and they'll do a YouTube video and be like, here's how you do the J Dilla beat. Here's how you do the Timbaland beat. Here's how you do the RZA beat. And they breaking down what you do, but you still copying. The same way that you were so different. The reason that Timbo is Timbo is because when we first heard you, it was the we had never heard them drums like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was a new flavor and a new vibe. It was something that you created along with whatever was going on in the room with you, Missy, Genuine, Aaliyah, all of y'all. It was something that was never done before, and it impressed us. So now if somebody can copy that, it hits us the wrong way because we like, where's the human invention in it? Where's the creativity?
Right.
Where's the thing of saying, okay, we've listened to this thing for 3 or 4 months on radio. You remember that point where everybody was copying you?
They still do, man.
Everybody, right? We got tired of it and Tim moved on. So after we get out of that phase, we get to a Justin Timberlake phase. Okay, now y'all copying the Justin Timberlake phase. And then we could go on and on. But what we're trying to do is make sure that the human emotion is still in it. To make sure that.
Yeah, bro, you can't get a song without human emotions. That's where the great songs came from. That's where the Anita Bakers come from. That's where the dang, I'm forgetting the Diana Rosses, the Diana Summers. Like you get those people because of human emotions and what they vocally able to do, and people cling on to it because they are human. I have something to attach myself to, right? So I have something that I like within this person that I see in myself, and that's what attracts the music, not the fucking AI shit. You know what I mean? Like we have to be very careful about what we doing, and this is a dangerous slope. I don't see any good coming out of it because nothing good came out of streaming. Like, yes, people were able to get more access. People was able to get more. People was able to get more access. But even let's think about this though. If you're paying for a streaming service, let's say you're paying $10 a month for a streaming service, right? You got access to over 5 million songs. How many songs do you really listen to? If there's 1,000 artists on Spotify, you're not listening to 1,000 artists. At the most, you might be listening to 10 at one time. And then when it comes to a new era of you listen to 10 more different artists, right? So in a lifetime, you might listen to 50 different artists total. Where's all this money going? Only to the top songs? Guru talked about this too, man. And it's kind of weird once we delve into it a little bit.
Scanning and analyzing the history of music and saying, okay, I'm going to take that. And when somebody types in and when you're prompting, all you're doing is talking to AI. And let's be specific. AI is not really intelligence. It's really only taking what we do and making it extremely faster. So on radio, you remember that point where everybody was copying you?
They still do, man.
Everybody, right? We got tired of it.
Cause my mom couldn't afford a keyboard.
Like a Jay-Z at whatever, 28 years old or 27 month, 10% this person, and put it month, 10% if you still got to know how to use the tool. The training of using the tool is still part of what makes you make what you make, even the restriction of the tool. So if I could take like a Jay-Z at whatever 28 years old or 27 on a Reasonable Doubt is different than a Jay-Z on a 444. But if I would have left it up to AI and y'all only had Reasonable Doubt, you would have never got to 444. That's the point.
I think we're leaving out the taste factor.
Exactly.
And also,
I mean, to be honest with you, man, it's like I think regardless of what I was trying to make, it was my taste of what I was hearing in my head.
Did you see that
Yeah,
in my post? I
and-
said, yo,
and-
bro, you leaving out your impeccable taste. Your taste
So
is the thing that's-
you gotta understand, I did that shit with spoons. Cause my mom couldn't afford a keyboard. I couldn't afford stuff, but it was my taste. So no matter what I'd use, I was gonna get the best because it was in me. That's what
no
God
matter
gave
what the
me.
tool is.
No matter what the tool.
But see, you the invention of you clapping them doggone spoons together to make that beat, right? AI doesn't have that. You did that out of necessity. You found the resource out of necessity. AI doesn't have limitations when it comes to that. They just, oh, it's a clicking sound. It doesn't have the thought process of what made him use these tools. What made him use these spoons? What made him use a pot? Why did he start crying like a baby? Or why did he use a baby in his beat? It was out of necessity. It was out of pure necessity. It wasn't because you had the money to do it. It's because like something hit your ear and you was like, oh, that might actually work. Let me try it. AI doesn't have that. So you're training AI to do something that it not only shouldn't be able to do, but it can't do. It can go find some spoons on the internet and click it together, but they don't know why it happened. And that's what we're talking about, the impeccable taste. Your taste is needed, regardless of who you are. And how many other people's legs are you cutting off by feeding the top? Let's say Timbaland's been a top producer in the industry 20-something plus years, right? If we do that times 10, so if we do Timbaland, we do Kanye West, we do Pharrell, we do Jay Dilla, we do Guru, we do Ill-Minded, we do Organized Noise, Jermaine Dupri. If we put all that information of the last 20 years of music and we load it into a computer, right? We load that information into a computer and that computer says, oh, this is what's hot. We gonna just replicate this, right? What does the inspiration come from? It's just mimicking something. It's making exact duplicates. It's actually a mirror, right? So where if Timbo was to train me or JD was to train me, certain parts of it is gonna be a mirror, maybe the process, but it's never gonna sound the same. It's never gonna sound exactly the same. My metronome biologically is different than Timbaland's metronome biologically. Cause who would have thought 4 seconds of a sample he could have made those beats that he made? With the Aaliyahs, with the Genuines, the Ponies, and the Static Majors. What? Like nobody would have thought take 4 seconds and do that. If you would have trained AI back then, they would have said, hey, you needed an orchestra, you needed keyboardists, you needed a drum pattern. Part of the restrictions and limitations is what made Timbaland Timbaland. AI doesn't have those restrictions and limitations.
I know how to play.
But hold on though. Hold on. So if you still got to know how to use the tool, the training of using the tool is still part of what makes you make what you make. Even the restriction of the tool. So if I could take all of jazz and I could program this thing to say, yo, here's the history of jazz music. Someone who's never touched an instrument ever in their life could go, you know what? Give me a song that's 25% Coltrane, 10% Monk, 10% this person, 10%, and put. It's like you never had the training to understand. And I'm saying jazz because that's like one of the hardest things to play. Jazz players don't play for the audience. They play for themselves. They play to show off to other jazz players.
Yeah.
To show that you can play on that level. That's a real deep thing. Mm-hmm. So to even stand on the stage at Minton's, right? And be like, yo, we taking this away from what regular jazz is and we're going to create this new thing. You had to already have the old thing to say that we moving away from that to get to this new thing. That's what make Coltrane. So if anybody can do Coltrane, it's like when kids come up to me and be like, yo, I could play Coltrane's song better than Coltrane. I'd be like, why would I want to do it? I already heard Coltrane. That's his expression.
And that's what I'm saying about the mirror, right? If I put if we put a Coltrane in there, or we put Robert Glasper into the AI thing, right? It's only gonna do what Robert Glasper would do up to that point, right? So if I only gave it 5 years of Robert Glasper, it's not gonna look at the other 10 years of Robert Glasper or Thelonious Monk or Coltrane and say this is the evolution of where they probably would have went. It's not. It's gonna stay in that same pocket, right? So even without us, it never creates anything better, right? So we have to push those limitations. And AI is not going to do that. It's only going to be the mirror. It's only going to duplicate what it's already heard.
So,
Not yours.
Guru, let me ask you a question, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can fire a pistol don't make you a sniper, though. You know what I'm saying? Just because you know how to access a tool don't make you a sniper. And I think,
but what I'm trying to tell you is that
like Timba.
What I'm trying to tell you is that we now have drones that can fire as good as the best snipers in the world. So you're taking away the thing of studying to be a sniper.
Right, no doubt. But
you're missing the point.
Yeah, see, this is why I think Guru excels above these guys as well. It's because he already knows those ins and outs of those mechanics and those machines. I would love to do an interview with Guru and strictly just talk about this. Guru, if you see this, my boy, tap in. Like, for real, I would love to do an interview and just hear you break it down. Like, I got questions, right? So what he's saying is, though, you're losing the training, right? Training prepares you for certain situations. So, like, for me personally, if I go on a, let's just say I know how to make beats. I know how to play a little bit of piano, and I go into a orchestra setting and want to play for one of the biggest orchestras there is, and they say, well, play this, and I can't play it, but I can only play everything else I've ever heard. That's kind of what he's saying. I'm not getting trained to be in that situation, to develop a skill, to be in that situation, to play with those people. And that's what AI is going to do. I'm able to type on the keyboard, make this kind of beat, make it swing like this, make it da-da-da-da, right? I'm not training myself to do anything other than type. There's no feeling behind typing like that, right? Sonically, we're going to say, oh, it sounds good, but does it feel good? And I think even now, I think that's where we're losing a lot of music at. Because even when we listen to the Al Greens, we listen to the Bob Marleys, that music was cut and recorded with a feeling. And you can feel that shit whether you believe so or not. You can feel that music way differently than you can feel a lot of the music now. My prime example for that is if we go back and we listen to those Deep South, I'm from the Deep South, I'm from Georgia. So I grew up in the church where they was stomping penny loafers on the floor, and it had a different vibration, a different sound to it. To this day, it is hard for me to listen to new church and gospel music, not only because of my thought process and I came out of the church, but it don't have a feeling. Church music now, to me, sounds like a R&B record, right? But if I go back and I listen to those people from back in the day when they were singing out those hymn books and they was just clapping and humming in the church, it feels different. That scene in Sinners where he was telling the story in the wagon. I can't remember his name, but he was telling the story in the wagon. He went from and they went into a song. That's what I'm used to. That shit makes me, I don't know, it does something to me internally. It's like a call. And AI is never gonna put that shit in there. You know what I'm saying? Why are we training this shit? We're training it to take our jobs, and our jobs are already, like, music is the only industry that has went from producers being paid $250,000 a record to barely getting 10 to 15 grand a song. They say it. Timbo said at the height of his career he was making $250,000 a song. Now we got engineers and producers that's barely making ends meet off the music. When music drives the world, you can't go nowhere without music. You're not in your car without music. You're not going to work without music. You're not having a commercial without music. You're not making movies without music. Everything has music in it, but we're the least paid, period. That's crazy.
But at the end of the day,
okay, but like, does it take away? You said take it away to be a sniper, but guess what? A real sniper gonna know how to work that drone sniper because he is a sniper.
Yeah, and Tim, this is where I go back to saying that you already have. Yes, of course. If I have my choice of people who gonna work the drone, I want a sniper.
Yes, because you know why? because they're already trained to look at certain things in different situations. Whether it's a drone or not, he gonna still be able to make that. He's still gonna be able to knock that target down, that practice target down, whether it's on a drone or whether it's him doing the shot himself. That's what training does. And what we're doing with AI is we're not allowing that 17-year-old or 15-year-old kid to learn or to train their ear to what sounds good to them. We're just telling it to say, hey, get this computer and type this prompt in, and you're gonna be able to sound like one of the greatest ever, like Kanye West, production wise. You're gonna be able to sound like Jay Dilla. You're gonna be able to sound like a fucking Mario Winans when it comes to writing, or Neo. What? We can't do that, man. We can't cut ourselves. We're steady cutting ourselves off in the music industry for pennies, for something that we love to do.
But
well, they modeled the sniper, the drone after the best sniper.
Yeah.
The best sniper gave them that information to be.
No, they didn't.
No,
they didn't. No, they didn't.
You think it's just a computer? You think they just typed that in?
No. What I'm telling you is that the best drone was made off of a program, whereas the best sniper know how to duck. He know what the weather look like. The drone don't know that. He know how to breathe. He know what the situation is. He know how to move. All of that. And you giving that information to somebody who ain't a sniper, who don't know how to work. All you doing is you saying, yo, it's literally right now in war, it's kids playing video games. They doing like this, killing people.
The video games, they got more knowledge of being a sniper than the sniper now.
I hear that gets to the point. That gets to the point of where we at.
It's not real life experience though, right? I can sit here and play Call of Duty all day. I know when I go to the gun range, I can't run and slide and pew motherfuckers like that. Like that is unrealistic. So it's certain things that are very unrealistic when it comes to being behind the computer versus being in the real life scenario.
Because the AI is so much faster than us. You got to understand what AI really is. You got to understand that you could put the whole of human history into a computer, and somebody can have in the drone, you have the whole of war.
That's true.
Versus,
hold up, what you about to say?
What I'm trying to say is, if the nature of warfare has changed, why are we still looking at what should be? And you know what I mean? And instead of talking about what we can do about it, right? Because it's like these things are out here, and we might let.
Because we still have the ability to change the world, and we're not changing it, we're letting it change us.
Because of the fact that chess is a strategy. I said this before and people got on me. Chess is a strategy game. It's not a life game. In life, you have to always remember that emotion, the change of the weather, anything can affect what you're doing in war. That's why. So if you program it for all these situations and that situation has never happened before, it don't know how to deal with it. Period.
Thanks.
So what I think is, I think we're going from a concept, we're going from A to Z. Right, like the inception of AI in music and entertainment.
Do you truly understand it? No,
we're not in the inception. We're not in the beginning stages. We're way past that. But that comes from a person that don't really know what's going on with AI.
No, not just in music.
You know what? Hold on.
Do you truly understand the inception of AI?
Hold on. So, Guru, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna be honest with you. We never seen it in our lifetime. None of us understand it. To be honest with you,
this is what I.
It's not just our lifetime; it's in the whole of human history as we know it. We've never seen anything like this.
Wrote down, right? So I put the world is in the middle of one of the greatest global changes that we've ever seen in our life, right? The world panics over job loss, changes in industries, and we've seen that part before, right? We have things like the Luddites. If y'all don't know what the Luddites is, this is people in 1811 to 1816. I'm actually
these are $8 million annual income stores, right? Multiply that, right? $8 million times XYZ. We're closing all these stores. We're firing management. We're just having product knowledge specialists there, and this is how we're going to run our business. That company went out of business in 3 years.
Yes.
Because the profit margins shrunk dramatically. Because at the end of the day, there's a reason why finance directors and finance managers and general managers make so money in the auto industry, because they know how to extract the finance from the customer walking in the door, and the computer couldn't do it. No matter how many tests they ran, there has to be some sort of human interaction to take that thing to the next level, right? So I use that example to what Tim is doing with Suno. I have 50. Listen, I got so many producers that have logged into Suno and send me their music, and it's garbage. Because guess what? The regular beats is garbage too. Because they don't have the ear to produce music at that high level. They don't have that taste to take that technology. No different than 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when people was jumping in Fruity Loops and producers were saying, "You're not a real producer because you're using Fruity Loops." And guess what? I
still can't use Fruity Loops.
But that's because you don't have the information to know how to use Fruity Loops, right? You're a hardware guy, right? I think Timbaland uses Ableton right now. Ableton, I can't use Ableton. It's too computery for me. As much as I love computers, it makes me feel like that it's like the GUI is hell no, I don't like it. But right, what we're trying to say is, or what we are saying is, whether they make trash beats or not, it's gonna be somebody that come along that's gonna figure out how to bypass all that shit. It's gonna be somebody that come along that's gonna be able to sit down and not watch a Curtis King and not watch a Busy Works Beats and not watch these people that are teaching people on a daily basis how to make beats and how to make things sound good. Even on my channel, people come in and they learn information, right? It's gonna be people that's gonna learn how to surpass that or bypass that and just sit down at a computer and type it. Because of the people you dealing with don't have the information, necessary access to the tools, right? Don't mean can't nobody else do it. And we're gonna see people that's gonna be able to bypass that. We gotta start understanding the humanity and the love part of what we do. If anybody can sit behind a computer and type it out, there's no love, there's no humanity in it anymore. There's no passion for it. And people that don't have passion for certain things, this shit becomes dangerous. We see it. They don't have a passion for it. They find a way to siphon the money out of it. We see it in the producer community with all these production packs and this, that, and the third, man. We see a lot of people stripping the way out of the producer community already. And we're going to take it to the next level. And they're going to be able to strip out of the producer community, out of the songwriter community, out of the mixing community, out of the mastering community. They're going to siphon all that. Yes, guaranteed you're going to have people that are going to survive because they already have the knowledge. But what about the people that don't have it? What about the people that are trying to get it? You're not thinking about those people. All right, y'all. So I'm not going to go through this whole interview or this whole conversation because, like, again, it's 4 hours long. Y'all make sure y'all watch it before it goes away. It's on Twitch. I don't think it's on YouTube anywhere quite yet. But at the end of the day, I want to go back and I want to tap on what Guru said inside of Timbo's post on IG. I don't even know. Can I zoom this in? It's about big as it's gonna get. All right. So y'all see the headline, right? Y'all see the headline. Timbaland announces new AI entertainment company reveals Tata is first artist. And Guru replied with this. At Timbaland, I'm going to say it again. I swear I love you, bro. This ain't it. Do you not realize what's going on? In the world, your voice is powerful and way too important to do anything like this. I have students that worship you. They are going to say, if Tim can do it, then it's okay for me to do it. These are the times right here that history is defined. Human expression can never be reduced to this. This is way bigger than the music. I say it all in love.
LeBron. Not everybody gonna make LeBron kind of money. You gotta work hard to get that kind of money. But what I'm saying is, if you're not gonna at least let somebody try to be a champion, You telling me all these opportunities we could give to these amazing creators, but y'all too difficult to deal with. Fuck y'all. I'm gonna tell a robot to do what I do. Fuck all that, because I could jump on AI, get 5 AI artists to do my music and make a killing. But the problem is this: if I'm taking your music, and I'm saying, fuck this guy, yo, let's put his shit through AI, let's put his shit through Suno, and let's take his whole shit, manipulate it, and then boom. Because I'm gonna tell you what Suno can't do. Suno is not creating music. It is manipulating music. It is manipulating music. And hold on. But you gotta understand something. I'm gonna keep it a buck with everybody watching, because I don't cap. I don't give a fuck. If you got a problem with me, see me. That's it. Not afraid of nobody. Only God. I go with God.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I'm just saying, for anyone who's offended, I don't care. I'm talking to labels. I'm talking to anyone who's fucking offended. Don't give a shit. I'm telling you the truth. God forbid the day you die and go to heaven, and God looks at you and said, damn, I gave you a gift and you gave it away. You gave it away. For fractions of a penny. You let these companies tell you that you are worthless. You let these companies tell you you're worthless. And y'all fighting for yo, I was literally in a battle. Hold up. I was in a battle. I can't hear Tim. I don't know. Can they hear me still? I don't know if I lost connectivity.
Tim, you muted.
I was in a battle over percentages. And I said to the artist, yo, we over here fighting for percentages of a record that I did 100% of. And I'm walking out of here with 36%. And I don't have a problem sharing. But we fighting over fractions of a fucking penny, because we've allowed ourselves to be devalued as creators. We've allowed ourselves to be devalued as human beings. Yo, what the fuck do I need you for? I just get a machine to do it. What the fuck do I need you for? I just get a robot to do it. And I'm going to tell you what that's going to do. It's going to replace you as well. All of you. So the question isn't about how do we structure this where we protect ourselves. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody running my shit through Suno, you're going to hear from my lawyer. Because I didn't get...
So this one of the parts I did want to get to. I actually ended half the time. Oh, this is at an hour and 30-something minutes in. You got YK. I think this is IG is YK as well. I don't know him. My first time seeing him last night. But he did a lot. He had a lot of great points in this. And like what I want to say too is we still devaluing, and like you said, we fighting for fractions of a penny. Like when we put our music on these streaming services, if you're not 100%er, then you're really not getting nothing. And what I mean by 100% is somebody like me, that I can produce, write, and engineer my own shit. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say it's gonna be 1000% the best, but my shit is drastically gotten better over the years. So my craft is also improving, but a lot of people are not 100%ers. A lot of people don't know how to make beats. A lot of people don't know how to write and structure songs, right? Whether it's good or bad. Some people have a difficult time of making a catchy song. So like when you bring a writer in and the writer only writes the hook, or you bring a writer in and the writer helps structure some way, you're still only getting fractions of a fraction of a penny at that point. And if we're going to protect ourselves and we're going to grow our craft to where we getting paid like LeBron to do this shit, you know what I mean? Like if LeBron is getting paid millions of dollars at the top of his game to play basketball, if NFL players are getting paid millions of dollars at the top of their game, why aren't artists getting paid millions of dollars at the top of their game? If they made it to the industry, if they won these Grammys, why aren't they getting these M's? Like again, like just to reference back, I was watching a video with Tim, and I watch a lot of interviews. So let me know if y'all want to see more videos like this, breaking down different interviews and stuff like that. Because I mean, that's what I do 90% of the time is watch a lot of interviews. Timbaland said in one of his interviews a while back that he was making, like at the top of his career, he was making $250 a song, right? So why can't we get back to that? And it's because of streaming services. And what YK is arguing also is direct to consumers what put these guys on, like Timbo and Guru. The money that they was getting paid from back in the day allowed them to establish themselves as not only top tier artists, but it allowed them to reinvest in themselves and get different equipment and et cetera, and provide a great living for their family. On my Sweet 16 back in the day, if y'all remember that Timbo bought his son a completely custom Lambo for his 16th birthday. You know what I'm saying? How many people can say that they can do that now through streaming services? He was able to do it through direct to consumer and buying physical copies of CDs, and when those go platinum, you know what I'm saying? That's when they was making the money and the bread. And so if you look at those artists that was making the money in the 90s and they talk about the money today, it's a completely different ball game. So are we going to keep cheapening ourselves through not only music, but are we going to keep cheapening ourselves by letting other things come in and take precedence and be able to do what we do? You know what I'm saying? I think the thing we gotta understand, the thing that we gotta realize, the thing that we need to hold fast to is our creativity. This is like the last frontier, and we just letting it slide in. I think AI has a place in creativity. I'm not gonna flex on that. But as far as is to be able to regenerate or copy a song or mirror a song, like I don't think that's it. Guru also said too, I'm finna end this here because I feel like I'm just talking too much. Guru said, because I took a note last night. I don't know where it is in the stream. Guru said he made more money. Yeah, here you go. Guru said he made more money in his career than he made more money selling a t-shirt than he made in his whole career. That's crazy. Guru at the top of his game was a top tier producer and a top tier, I guess, mixing engineer. I'm not completely sure on everything that Guru did, but I do know he dealt with the SSL boards and stuff like that. So I know he did production, I know he did engineering. But he said selling a t-shirt because Jay said his name, like We Up Goo or something like that, and that's what he put on a t-shirt. And Guru made more money selling a t-shirt than he made in his whole career. That's a wild accusation. Well, I ain't gonna say accusation. He's speaking facts. That's kind of wild. And now we getting to the point in the why where the digital streaming services, where cats ain't even making 100 racks a year off music. Like it's easier access. So for the independent artists, it's a lot easier to access, because back in the day you would have had to go to the studio, record, then you would have had to buy physical CDs and burn physical CDs, and then you would have to go sell it, right? So when the LimeWire era came and we was able to burn and sell CDs, I'm not gonna lie, a couple months I fed my family off me selling CDs of music that me and my partner Lil Country had made at that time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Out of a spool of 100, if we sell $10 CDs out of a spool of 100 CDs, you do the math, right? If we buy 50 CDs, even if we got a spool of 100 and we sold them at $3 a piece, just made $300 off a spool of CDs. The money was there, right? And then the jewel cases that you put the CDs in was maybe $20 for a 100 pack or something like that. I can't remember. I think maybe like $20 for a 100 pack. So if it was $20 for the CDs, it was $20 for the CDs. It was $20 for the jewel cases. And back then, JPEG was a thing. We'll go to a company like JPEG and get them to print off the artwork. We'll pay $50 for the artwork from my homeboy Daniel, right? So all in right now, we looking at barely $100. You know what I'm saying, to get 100 CDs pressed up, and we would burn them ourselves. So it ain't like we was going to a manufacturer getting them burnt. We just sit at the house and burn them ourselves, and that's how we made our bread, right? I was able to feed my family for 2 months off that shit. I wasn't working. Like I remember those hustle days, right? But again, that's something that we gonna have to start thinking about. YK delve into that with he got like a digital album thing that he has. YK did that. So it's a lot of people going back to those physical copies. Even what Tory Lanez did when he sold those NFTs. He sold 1 million NFTs in a minute for $1 a piece, made $1 million. He went platinum in a minute before all this bullshit popped off with Meg the Liar. But yeah, man. Let's see something. Let me see another note that I got. I said that we talked about AI cheapening music. Timbo said he uploaded some beats, and so he's already trained AI. So AI already has information on how to make beats like Timbo. AI already has information on how to make a certain type of hip hop beats from Timbo, right? So we're already training it. So you can't say that it's not being trained. It is being trained. If it can scour the internet and see who Timbaland is, and then scans Timbaland's catalog, if it can look through the internet and see Trick Daddy and see Trick Daddy catalog, Slip and Slides catalog, see Lil Jon's catalog with Crunk Juice and all that, and Snap Music catalog, Soulja Boy catalog, Bow Wow catalog, then it's already being trained. You just got to point it in the right direction to teach it how to look, and that's what prompting is. Learning how to prompt will get people there. It's never going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. Guru said this too. He said we're not selling music access no more. We paying what we're paying for is access to a server. So we're not selling music anymore. We're paying for access to a server. So when we talk about streaming, right, you're not paying for the music. You're paying for access to a service that is streaming, right? When you pay that monthly fee for Spotify, you're paying to say, hey, I want access to all this music. You feel me? So that's a thing. Like, we're not necessarily selling music no more. Also, a lot of music is being sold through content. So are we truly selling? Is music? Has music become secondary? That's a question I would ask. Drop it in the chat. Let me know what y'all think. If you made it this far, that let me know you listening. So drop it in the chat. Are we still selling music, or is music secondary now? Are we selling images first? How people look, how people act, how people talk. Are we selling that first, and music becomes secondary? Let's get through these notes. Finding a way to regulate AI is another thing, right? How can we limit AI's access or limit AI's input to certain things? Because programming it to make a funky loop is one thing, right? And you're able to chop the loop up, resample it, But if you're programming AI to completely make a whole song, then that's something totally different. If this song sounds like Chris Brown, if this song sounds like Aaliyah, if this song sounds like Genuine, if this song sounds like Jay-Z or David Banner, right? Then now we in a tricky situation. We're in a tricky area. Excuse me. We're in a tricky area, because then how do we regulate it? You know what I mean? How do we stop people from sounding like us? And back in the day, they would call it biting, and a lot of people wouldn't get on like that. All right, so yeah, are we cheapening our music every year by adding things like this in? That's a question that needs to be asked. For yourself personally, I think we are. I think the mixtape era cheapening our music as hip hop artists. I also think, you know what I'm saying, the free beat, the type beat era has cheapened our music. And I had a conversation through a class. I don't know if Curtis King remember it, because I was the only one in the class fighting for it. It was Curtis King and Epic the Don in a beat making class. And I was like, why are we steady cheapening the music? Why are we steady cheapening the music? And he was like, man, you just got to get along with the program type thing. And it wasn't no negative. So I'm not dissing what he said or the replies. I don't know if Curtis said that or Epic said that, but either way, that was kind of the response. You know what I'm saying? Because Epic the Don was one of the first ones to buy one, get three free. Or the first one, from, if I remember correctly. That in itself, I felt like cheaping music to a degree, and no knock to them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing the same thing on my beat store. No knock to them. But is that part of cheapening our music or our talents, our creativity? And is that why we can't get the LeBron numbers for our albums anymore? I think Nip did a great thing with the $100 album. That was perfect. I think I think a lot of artists need to do things like that to bring, to show people that we still value music. Ill Minded was saying about how he was learning to make beats by copying Jay Dilla's drum patterns and sounds and learning how to make Jay Dilla type beats, right? Until he became a better producer, I guess. And what Guru's arguing is like, hey, AI can do that without taking 6 months to learn how to make a Jay Dilla type beat. AI can do that in 2 hours. AI can do that within an hour if you do it with the right prompt. And the thing for me is, even though I copied Timbo's beats for a long time to learn how to make it bounce a certain way, I still couldn't perfect it. AI can perfect that shit and just drop it right back out. But also what we were able to do as producers learning, right? We was able to copy drum patterns. We was able to do certain things and then add to, you know what I'm saying? Take it a step further. Oh, I like when Jay Dilla do this. I don't like when he do that. I like when Timbaland do this. I don't like when he do that. Now, how can I mix these two together to make my own style, my own flavor, my own sound? AI is never going to do that. AI is just only going to completely duplicate and mirror it out. It's just a repetitive process. So when people want new music 5 years from now and they're generating that shit with AI, they're not going to get it because nobody's going to be creative enough to do it. I don't think we ever get to that point. Something I wanted to research before I did this video. Guru was speaking on they already have AI artists in Thailand, like doing anime shows type thing. I gotta look that up. Y'all let me know what y'all find if y'all seen it. And I'm gonna end on this note because this is a great point to end on. Guru spoke and Guru was saying, we make nuclear weapons that can make nuclear weapons. And I want y'all to hear that again. We make nuclear weapons that can make nuclear weapons. So we're making a AI that where it took Einstein so many years to get to the point to figure out how to do that. AI can do that within a matter of months, a couple of days, right? So if AI can do that and get to the point to where it can just replicate and figure out these hard equations that we've yet been able to touch mentally or grasp the capacity of it, AI can do this and put us that much more further ahead of the curve when it comes to understanding certain sciences. So when we do that, right, and we're telling it to do something and it's learning how to do it and it's going to learn how to do it better and better, eventually it's going to get to the place where it's going to replace the Timbaland. It could replace the DJ 912. It could literally replace FL Studio. It can replace all these softwares that we've grown to love and like and understand, right? What are we teaching it to do? Are we teaching it to make us obsolete, or are we teaching it to help us grow and become better producers? I'm gonna end on that note. Been nice tapping in with y'all. Make sure y'all tap, subscribe, and share. If y'all want to see more content like this, tune in and subscribe to the channel. Help me get to the road to 500 subscribers. Peace. I wanted to add this in here too, though. I just seen a video of Timbo saying he wanted to create Tata to create this like Fortnite gamey type situation to be able to put on the monetize, you know what I'm saying, the AI side of it. I'm gonna call BS on that because not Tyler the Creator. Travis Scott didn't have to do that. He was in Fortnite. Snoop Dogg didn't have to do that. Snoop Dogg was in Fortnite. Snoop Dogg in Call of Duty. Snoop Dogg is also inside of Fortnite, Call of Duty, and he was also inside of 2K at one point in time. Look at what T Grizzly is doing. So I don't buy that shit there. I think that was a scapegoat to try to save his ass. But that don't work with me. It's too many other people that's in this gaming industry, or what is inside the gaming industry, or that's making waves inside the gaming industry from music, and they ain't doing that shit with AI. Now maybe their facial likeness and stuff is licensed so that the games can use it, but they didn't have to create something outside of themselves in order to do that. So I'm gonna call BS on that.